or you're streaming live on Facebook Live, welcome to watch us there. If you're tuning in at home and you're registered for this call, awesome. We will see you there. Either way, we're listening and we can hear everything you guys are saying. And you guys can ask us questions and all that stuff throughout this webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to get set up here really quick. Let me go ahead and share this screen while we wait for some people to go ahead and come on board here. And as we do, I'm going to ask for a quick sound check to make sure that you guys can hear what we're going to say, because I'm going to warn you right off the bat, this call is going to be extremely visual. Like when we give these webinars, I'm not here to give you guys some type of sales pitch. I'm going to show you exactly what we're doing. I'm going to show you exactly what's behind the hood. And content creation is what we're all about. This is part 3 of a webinar series that we've been doing over the last month and a half, give or take. And we're ready to get started. I do have one of our marketing dudes on the line here with us. He's going to sort of watch our webinar here, give us Q&A answers and whatnot. And if you guys have questions, he is watching that. So go ahead. And Justin, just before I get started, can you make sure that we have the right screen? It should be a how to create content on your website that attracts new clients and converts visitors, part 3 of 3. Is that what everyone is seeing right now?
Yes, and it sounds exactly the way that you just said it. Okay. So that's perfect.
Awesome. And then how do we look like on Facebook Live? Are we on? Because I can't see anything.
Yep, coming through. Looking good.
All right, folks, let's do this. I've never given this webinar before. We're really excited about it. This is actually a new service, a new thing that we started doing for a lot of our clients as well. But I want to walk you through what our webinar series was, because some of the stuff we're going to talk about, I'm not going to lie to you guys, some of this is a little advanced. It can be a little bit advanced. And a lot of it has to deal with everything we've sort of been talking about. First webinar we had was, what the fuck is my brand? I believe this is the most important lesson in marketing real estate. One of the things we're going to talk about, all we're going to talk about today is content creation. Content creation comes really easy, and it becomes very effective and very engaging when you know what your brand is and you speak through that voice. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Webinar number 2, we talked about how to become a local celebrity using video, your smartphone, and your personal brand. So we are not going to be talking too much about video today, but we are going to be talking a lot about content creation, and they sort of go hand in hand with one another. So let's get into it, all right? What are we going to cover? Well, first off, how many of you guys right now are stuck and you're just like, what? Everyone's telling you to create content. I mean, even the fairies are saying create content now, and they're saying stop prospecting, create content, create videos, get on videos. What the hell does that mean? How many of you are struggling with what is content, right? Well, we're going to show you how to create hyperlocal content and why you should do it. And I'm not talking about sales pitches. Like, I'm sick of the clickbait on Facebook. I'm sick of the listings and being, oh, this property is coming soon on the end. And what do you think your freaking audience thinks about that? I'm talking about content that humanizes your brand and attracts clients by creating an actual connection. What we're talking about essentially is turning your business into a little media company and creating consistent media around your brand backed up with a content strategy. Folks, in other words, this is playing the long game. If you're a transactional brokerage, this is not the webinar for you. If you are just out there to sell houses, this is not the webinar for you. If you are looking to build a brand and play the long game and actually own real estate in the minds of your audience, this is the webinar for you. I'm not only going to show you on what to do, but I'm going to show you exactly how to market it as well. The end goal here, when you're talking about the way we're going to explain content marketing through a website, attraction marketing, whatever the hell you want to call it, is to create a website full of useful content that people can easily find and, most importantly, connect with. That is the key, folks. So let's start at the beginning. Let's cover the basics. The first question I have for you guys is, what kind of website do you have? And if you don't have a website, I think you should get one. Now, I'm going to let you answer your own question. And this is the thing that it comes down to first. Now, I believe everyone should have a website. I mean, it's freaking 2018. We know that in today's day and age, we need to do a lot more than just pop a listing on the MLS, put a sign in the yard, and just sit there and freaking pray and wait for that house to sell, right? So what we're talking about is your website really just an online business card? Is it a lead generation site? Do you own it or do you lease it? Is it a WordPress site? And the truth is that the right answer depends on what you want to do with your website. But if you begin creating content in the way we're going to explain today, I believe it needs to be a website that you actually own. And if you don't own that website, plan on leasing it for the rest of your career. And here's what I mean by that. And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm not throwing any of the lead generation sites under the bus here. They're lead generation sites. So, of course, But I want you to do the math. I want you to look at your website. I want to look at your website costs right now. And if you have a site, do the numbers on it, right? I believe in ROI on virtually everything you should be doing in your business, but do the math. If you're paying about $250 for a leased site that you don't even own, okay, that means every year you're spending about $3,000. After 5 years, you spent $15,000 on a site you don't even own. The key here is that with content creation, you want it to be on a site that you own because it's branding. And when you create content, you don't just do it one time. This isn't like buying Zillow leads, like where you buy Zillow leads and every 30 days you either made a positive ROI or you didn't. In content creation, good content is the gift that keeps on giving. And you'll see that if you do it in the way that I'm going to share with you, I believe your content will make you money time and time again over time. So what we're really talking about today is lead generation versus branding and or market presence. We're going to be talking about the latter here. Branding, market presence, content marketing, and whatnot. So just a little tips. And if you guys have questions on it, feel free to go ahead and ask them towards the end of this webinar or during it. We're watching it. The marketing dude's right here watching it. So why should everyone create content? Justin, why is everyone creating content right now? I mean, aren't the gurus even finally saying it? You need to create content. I freaking love that because I hate prospecting. And do you guys hate prospecting? Like, I cannot stand cold calling. I cannot stand door knocking. Like, you don't even door knock in Illinois. You know what would happen, Justin, if you door knocked in Chicago? You'd get shot. All right? I get door knockers every weekend at my house. It's just so weird now. Just not used to it. But Justin, I want to know why you think everyone should be creating content.
Well, I mean, and it comes back to something that we talk about a lot here is for me, it's making friends. You know, that's what I call it. You know, I say that I create content because I want people to know about me and the things that I care about. And the truth is, like, I'm with you. Like, I absolutely hate calling people. I hate knocking on doors. I don't want to talk to people who I have nothing in common with. I want to go out and hang out with my buddies. And the way that I do that is I open up, I share my beliefs about things. I share things that I'm passionate about, and I connect with people who enjoy those same types of things. So that's why.
I totally agree.
I guess I could say that because I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to. I wanted.
Well, I don't think it's about lazy. At the end of the day, we all want to sell more houses, but we all have our own doing it. And what we're talking about today doesn't involve prospecting, cold calling, door knocking, or any of that stuff. This is all attraction based. This is what content marketing is. But ultimately, it's to build your personal brand. When you have a brand, you don't chase business. Business chases you. And it's extremely important that, you know, if you're nobody, then why is anyone going to use you? Content is what makes you an authority, essentially. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Now, ultimately, Justin, you sort of hit this on the head, is content is how you market your business without talking about real estate all the time. And be honest with yourself, guys. Like, how many of you guys really just fucking hate talking about real estate? Like, I couldn't stand it. Like, what am I going to talk about? Hey, here's a market update. I'm already sleeping, right? So it's like, how do you market your brand without being a douchebag salesperson and, you know, splashing a bunch of sales messages all over? And, you know, I talk to agents across the United States every day, and this is the number one problem I see us facing. And we're going to answer that for you today, guys. So build your authority. But ultimately, here's what happens. This is the formula on why we create content, all right? I want you to pay really close attention. If you're writing this down, write it down. I want you to staple this to your forehead if you have to. Some of you might even want to get a tattoo on this, but it's really, really good. Content creates conversations. Conversations leads to trust. Trust leads to money, okay? It's as simple as that. Content is a dating process, and so is sales. And as you're creating content, it allows you to have more conversations that you would not have had in otherwise. So I want you to reverse engineer this because you're like, yeah, Mike, great theory, blah, 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 blah. Put yourself in the customer's shoes, okay? You logged on. You're not a real estate agent anymore. You logged on and you're looking for a house. You just relocated and you logged on to an agent's website, okay? Now, let's just pretend that website is you, and I want you to put your shoes in the other. Would you trust you? Just by looking at your website. I want you to think about that. And think about how people book vacations today. Like, nobody books a vacation on Travelocity, Expedia, or any of these sites without first looking at the reviews, because what they're really looking for is, you know, they want to know that it's okay to go there, right? So that's content, right? What someone else says about your business is more powerful than what you'll ever say about it. So content is what builds your authority. It's what builds trust without you having to open your mouth and speak to anybody. And ultimately, content is what makes you an expert. So look at that and look at your site and pretend you're not a real estate agent and lose all emotional attachment with it. Log on your site and just be like, would I use me? do I really know what I'm doing? There's all the shit on here, totally boilered down, water plated, and just junk, right? So let's talk about what content is, because I think this is a big thing on where people get stuck. They don't know what to do, right? And content's simple, folks. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike, one second. And so, in something that I'm horrible at, and I want to bring this up because I've started doing this in a lot of other places. If you're not good at looking at your own website and having that type of like self-reflection, find 4 or 5 people who you love, like who will be honest with you, and share them what you're trying to do, and send them to your website and tell them to be brutally honest about it.
Yep.
And because those are the people who they want you to succeed, and they'll tell you. So if you don't have what it takes to have that type of like critical thinking about yourself and your own website, give it to somebody who can.
Yep. Totally agree. So content's anything that shares your guys' story on your daily activity. Yes, it could be your just listed. Yes, it could be sold case studies, but it could also be community events that you're involved with. It could be fundraisers. It could be blog, real estate content. It could be videos. It could be neighborhood tours. It could be small business interviews. It's anything that reflects or infers your brand story. In other words, folks, someone way bigger than us, all of us put together, HGTV has already done all the work for us. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what HGTV is, really outlines our map for what kind of content we can create, because they've already done all the work. And, do the math. Like HGTV doesn't exist unless there's an appetite to consume this type of content we're talking about. So just mimic him. Quit being a realtor and start being HGTV and watch what happens. Content creation in the way that HGTV does it is perfect. And you think about it, people follow stories, people follow transformation, people follow moves. And if you start getting in the habit of storytelling through your own content on just shit you're already doing on a daily basis, it's exactly how you build your brand. It's exactly how you share your story. And it's exactly how you do it consistency by creating media around your brand. But why wouldn't I share others' content? Please don't do this, folks. You have to build your own, in my opinion. Yep. Sharing others' content does nothing for your own authority. You're basically saying this guy's way smarter than I. And let me give you an example. One of the main reasons people write books, and let's just take myself and let's take Justin, okay? Me and Justin are sitting side by side. You and I meet for the first time, and we're just sitting there. But Justin wrote a book, and I didn't. Justin has more authority than I do. And you're going to think that in your mind just because of that, and that's because of content. So do the math. Think about it. Your own content should be a way to humanize your brand. Sharing others doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't drive traffic back to your website. And the one thing you can never outsource is authenticity. I can't tell you how many times people reach out to us and they say, well, I'm using this site, this web company, and I just want them to post. Will you guys just post on your business page? Will you guys just post on my business page? No, I don't want to give you crap content. I'm not you. I can't be you. Therefore, I'm not going to even try. The only one who can be you is you. Remember, God only made one of you. So people buy when you connect with them ultimately. And that's why I say this. You have to create your own content. And please don't promote others' content and pay to promote it. I can't tell you how many realtors I've seen on Facebook that are promoting like a Zillow article or an Inman News article. And I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are just sending them traffic. Like, trust me, those companies love that you do that. But don't do that, please. Now, this right now is what I call the land grab of attention. And content is how you get it. That's how you get it. There's never been a better time to build your own personal brand in real estate. And we're not going to get into the branding side. If you want more on that branding and all that, watch webinar 1, okay? But how you build the brand is simple. It's through content. Without content, you don't build a brand. A lot of times we hear realtors refer to themselves as the closet agents. Well, you're a closet agent if you're not creating content. It's as simple as that. And the reason why this is so important is because 96% of consumers chose the agent, not the brand they're affiliated with, which means you are the brand. Okay. Simple as that. People aren't choosing your broker. They're choosing you. Therefore, you are the brand. And yeah, it feels a little weird to think of yourself as a brand, but go ahead and watch webinar number 1 in our series and you'll see exactly why. We're not going to spend time on that today. Now, when we look at where business really comes for, again, I'm going to emphasize this. We talk about this in webinar 1, but 51% of buyers came from people that we already know. 13 or 12% comes from repeat clients, right? So the vast majority of business still comes from people we know. And as a matter of fact, one of the statistics that have not changed over the last, 15 years, however long I've been alive doing this, is them in that 60 to 70% of people still use the first agent they speak to. So what should be your goal? Should it be to go buy a bunch of Zillow leads or become the first agent they speak to? For me, it's to become the first agent they speak to. Well, in order to become the first agent they speak to, you have to be thought about, and that's where content comes in. So your content is the excuse to market your database and attract people just like you. But the key is, don't make it boring. Boring will put you out of business. If you notice that the videos and the content that gets created nowadays, none of it's boilerplated. All right, your database, your peeps don't want any more turn back the clock emails like a lot of you sent them a few weeks back. They want to see like shit that's going on in their community, stuff that's interesting, stuff that creates value, okay? And it doesn't always have to be real estate related. So where you get started on this is to define the content strategy. There's a million things to create content on. There's no shortage of this. And honestly, I'm going to give you guys about like 8 different content marketing strategies today. I'm going to show you them. And you're not going to have any shortage of it. The only shortage of it is a shortage of taking action and actually you getting off your ass and going out there and creating this content, or hiring us and we'll create it for you. So the key here is that you want to define your brand. The reason why that's so important is because of this. Now, when I started doing a lot of content creation, I don't know how many years ago, but it was back when I was still in Chicago. Obviously, I was a Chicago real estate dude, and I wrote and created content about freaking everything you could imagine with. But what I learned during that time was this. I learned that the more authentic I was, the better it did, right? So I wasn't creating content. And the number one thing we get is, won't I piss that person off? Or won't they not like me if I do that? Listen, you attract like people, period. You're not going to attract someone you wouldn't attract anyways. That's why 9 out of the last 10 closings that you had, you started drinking beer with them, because you attract like people. We all do. So what I'm saying is that, and I want to give you an example, because I'm going to use myself as an example because I do this on a daily basis. I do this with real estate marketing, dude. You could tell by my tonality, I don't really give a shit if you like me or not. All right. What I am is I'm just being authentic. I want you to like me, but at the same time, I'm not going to like cry if you don't. The truth is that a lot of people think I swear too much and I'm not professional, blah, blah, blah. Great. So be it. I wouldn't probably get along with them anyways. But by being just me, I actually win more. So when people would come in off my Chicago real estate dude site, like not too many realtors drop an F-bomb in the first 2 sentences of their blog post. Well, I did. And that's just who I was, all right? The point is not for you to go out and try to swear and do all this shit because you think that's cool. If that's not you, that's not you. If it's you, it's you. But the point is this, is that when people would come to me off of my blog, they were come list me's, okay? They were not like questioning me and trying to size me up at that time. We've already connected, and that's what content does. Content with personality is what the key is here. It sets up your theme. It sets up your storyline, because the key to creating good content is storytelling that represents your brand. Let me give you an example. On storytelling, we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go throughout. Which one is going to get more clicks or engagement on Facebook, okay? Just sold in Chesterville, 3 days on the market and above list price. To me, that's a brag reel. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go with option number 2. Case study, this homeowner sold their house for 3 days for 4% over list price with multiple offers at an open house. What? Here's how, okay? Quit telling and start showing. This is the difference between storytelling, and this is just one example of doing this on a listed, on just listed, just sold type of piece of content. Now, the other way to do it, if you're not storytelling, is humor and entertainment. This dude, you guys have probably seen this video. I love this video. I watched this thing go viral. I thought it was genius. Gabe Mendez is an agent in San Diego. He got over 1 million views. I think he got a total of like 1.5, 1.6 million views. Unbelievable. Just because he added some simplicity of humor and entertainment at the same time. And he's thinking outside the box. And what we're fighting for, folks, in attention or in content creation is attention. That is the key. We're not fighting for lead generation. I'm fighting for the attention of my audience. I want to own a piece of your mind. And I want to know that when you think of real estate, you think of me. And that's exactly why we create content. When you become an authority, you have a consistent content marketing plan built behind you that is keeping you everywhere all the time. And if you want to see more on video content, you watch webinar number 2. We broke down everything on video content. We actually do this for people, and we're full done for you service on that. But the point here is this, folks. Think long-term, not short, all right? Each piece of content you create long lives on your YouTube channel, your website, and all that. I got 5 leads this month for my old website that my landing pages aren't even working anymore. I mean, the website just has content on it now. It's just crap. I haven't used it, but people are still coming in. Someone came in yesterday from Central Illinois, and they're like, they came in off a blog post I wrote. I know the exact one. It was a blog post we wrote about what you do when you inherit property. And I get calls on that because it ranks. Well, grandma died, what do I do next, right? I forgot how I optimized the blog post. But this person inherited a house, and there were squatters in there doing a bunch of drugs, and they wanted our advice, right? That type of leads, they come in through content, okay? So it's extremely important. Now, your website hosts content forever, and think about this as content creation is nothing more than you creating a series of marketing pieces that you'll repurpose down the road and use over and over again. Is that a good way to say it, Justin?
Yeah, that's it. And there's and I keep talking about the question, well, what do I write about? And again, I keep saying realtors have no shortage of content. I'm working on a few pieces right now that I pulled from one of my continuing education sources. Those are great places to go in, tap into some of those courses, download the PDF on it, and just start typing away on it. Because, NAR, they tell you what's relevant. They tell you what people care about.
Yeah.
And they'll pretty much write it for you. You just have to go in and add your brand to it, add your thoughts on it.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
We're going to break it down. Let's show them. Let's not talk theory. Let's go right into it. So we're going to break down different types of content to create. And we're going to break all of these down. The very first piece let's talk about real estate content, right? Yes, your website should probably have some real estate content, but let's face it, real estate content's really boring.
Yep.
Nobody, hey, come here, the market updates, or hey, these are closing costs, or hey, blah, blah, blah. No one really gives a crap. I don't feel like people want to talk about real estate until they're the market, the buy or sell themselves. So right. I feel like when we're talking at people about stuff they don't want to hear about, they're definitely tuning us out, and they might even be getting a little bit of an annoyance on it. However, that doesn't mean you don't create content. Like, look at my blog, Real Estate Marketing Dude. Is nothing more than there's free training, there's a shitload of content, there's blog posts, there's these podcasts you could download, and it's there to educate people. It's there to build my own authority, and it's no different with your own content. So I want to share with you some different things that you could be doing on your website, and think about creating a 6-step seller series that is really just a reflection of your listing presentation without you having to give it.
So Mike, would you say that like the real estate related content on your website, it's kind of like the cup holders in a car. Like, you can't not have it, but it's kind of one of those things where it's not really like when the car sells us, oh yeah, and you got 4 cup holders. You're like, I don't care about that.
So what we're looking at right here, this is a 6-step series that links up to 6 different blog posts. And what it is, it's a story. It's a story of a couple of stick figures that bought a house. And I told a story about a couple as like a live case study, and I just walked them through the process. Now, realistically, what this is my listing presentation without me having to give it. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's broken down through step 1, step 2. But if I were to give a live listing presentation, this right here would be the process I would follow in that order. I'd say, okay, step 1, step 2, and I just wrote it out in the content. And basically all I've done is take my listing presentation, create 6 blog posts out of it, and use that to drip over time. Now, there's a lot of ways I can use this, right? Not only am I optimizing, not only does every blog post, this is a total of 6 posts, every blog post here has a video on top of it. So I take that video, I put it on YouTube, I rank it there, and I send traffic back to my site. I also use that video on the top of every blog post to connect with my audience, connect with people who are reading the content. That's why I have a video on every page of my site. I believe that anything you do, content creation now, you should accompany it with a video. However, one or the other is better than none at all. Now, think about all the conversations we have on a daily basis. And this is really where real estate content is going to be used in 2 ways. 1, to drive website traffic back to you, but 2, to help you convert leads and prospects that you're already dealing with. Now, think about all the different people that you come across when you're dealing with sellers, and how much nicer is it to say, hey, let me send you this article on Chicago closing costs I just wrote. And, that could be a nonchalant conversation. The content you share with potential leads and or prospects or clients builds your authority, and people are really like, holy shit, this dude wrote that? Oh yeah, this guy totally knows what he's doing. Yep. Right? And it's sort of like when we say sell without a sell is because we're educating. I want you to think about that from your own point of view, is like, Would you use the person that doesn't know what they're doing for your biggest financial purchase or sell in your entire life? Absolutely not. So on my site, I had a whole seller series that answered basically every question people had, and it was there as ammo when I needed it. That makes sense?
Makes sense.
So I did the same thing on the buy side. I took my buyer's presentation, I broke it down into 6 different blog posts the same way. It's my buyer's presentation without me having to give it. And if you go on my site, I wrote a long story and I made a chapter, it's like a storybook. Chapter 1, how to buy a house. Chapter 2, chapter 3. That was my fun way of making it consumable. Right?
Yeah.
And we give those images away, you guys, to anybody that wants them that's in our community. So don't, if you're seeing this stuff and you have questions on it, feel free to message us. But the point I want to make is that you should always have like an educational type series. These 6 posts, I could also drip out on any type of opt-in, can I?
Yep.
I could think about all you guys that are buying leads and you want to start a seller series. Well, boom, there you go. Just write the emails. We'll write your emails too, but write the emails, send them out, and then put them on their drip. But send them the content that reflects your personality, reflects your persona, and also adds value. There's other places you could create content, but I truly believe this is that when it's watered down and boilerplated, everybody feels it, they know it. And good content is a huge difference maker. I can't tell you how big of a deal that made to my site. Now, I want to go over core content because I just gave you a buyer series and a seller series. But you also know that there's a bunch of core content that are out there. And this is a thing that we have called How to Sell Your House Without an Agent. And it's specifically targeted towards for sale by owners. Now, a lot of times when I first started doing this, people are like, Mike, you're crazy. Why are you going to show someone how to do your job without you? And I'm like, no, dude, this is what content does. Share everything. Hold no secrets back, okay? The value in a realtor's business is what's up here in your brain. Okay, so I'm happy to share this with a homeowner that never sold a house before because I showed him exactly all the shit we do and I held nothing back. You got to remember that 82% of FSBOs end up listing with an agent. So I was happy to show people how to sell their house for free. I actually built out a course for them and they could download it. Now, we have a for sale by owner course that shows everybody exactly how to sell your house without using an agent. And honestly, what it does is it just overwhelms people because they're like, shit, now I know why I hire an agent. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're the type of agent that just puts a listing on the MLS, pops a sign in the yard, you're going to have a little bit more of a challenge explaining this. But, you know, we're running Facebook ads. We're optimizing. We're doing videos. We're doing all kinds of stuff with marketing our house. And, yeah, we also do create this on people's websites as well. We have a for sale by owner course. And here's another thing that you might want to even think about. You could go out and sell this for sale by owner course. You know, Justin's actually doing this. I want to get Justin actually did this same thing in his market. I want to get your story on your FSBO. What happened? Give me not too long, but you know.
Yeah, I'll give you short versions. So, so I have the ebook. You know, I have the ebook that we put together, and it is basically listing presentation on steroids and a bunch of fluff, basically. My personal anecdotes, my thoughts on it. Over a year and a half ago, I reached out to this guy. He had this nice building in St. Louis. Said, I'm gonna tell you, he picked up the phone and he's like, dude, I know what you're gonna say. I don't want to use a realtor. And I was like, all I want you to do is take a look at my ebook and tell me your thoughts on it. And if you have any questions, call me. No pitch, no script. That's it. And he said, yeah, send it over. Sent it to him. Answered a bunch of questions for him. About 60 days ago, he called me and said, all right, I'm done. I need you to do this. Just list it. And put it on the market, did everything in the ebook that we had, and got an offer in 14 days. I didn't get that listing because I pitched him a bunch of talking points. He saw that I was helping him, and because of that, he trusted me, and he knew that I was the guy that was going to sell this building. And it took some time. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss, is that when you're in the content creation business, like you're truly in the farming business at that point.
Think about this too. Like there are so many ways to approach it with content. This is what content does. It leverages you in creating value, and nobody else is doing this in your market.
No.
So why not go after for sale by owners and go after their buy, not their sell? Okay. Yep. Create a program where you say, hey, I'm going to help you sell your house on your own. They're gonna say, why are you doing this? And be like, well, because you're probably already buying and it doesn't cost you any money to use me. So I'll help you buy and I'll give you the advice on sell, but my services on the sell are limited to just this. It's very easy. It's an easy pitch. It's like a no-brainer. See, content creation is all about creating an offer that is irrefusable. We say in The Godfather, give him an offer he can't refuse. So do the exact same thing, with content. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing with this. Yep. Now, if you really want to get advanced, you could actually sell this course for like $297. You could drip this out all over Facebook, and you could probably turn profit on this and pay for your leads for free if not. Now, we do this. We create these things for people, but if you're interested in that, just let us know. This is the most common question everybody has, and that's why I made it a piece of core content on my website. My number one way to convert was always, do you have to buy and sell at the same time? And then they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck. We got to meet. Right. We need to meet because, the littlest thing could go wrong and it's a big deal. So that was always my script. I created a really good piece of content on my site that really walks them through like a case study of the whys in all this. And this would be like an article I would send to someone before our listing presentation, before my buyer's presentation or something like that. And it's just content, right? So think about the ads you can create around this. Great, congratulations, you sold your house, but now you have to buy a new one. You're screwed. Did you do this? Like people, anytime you point out like pain, the average consumer has no idea what to do and all the moving parts that are going on at selling and buying at the same time. So we just spelled it out for them and made it really easy. But I can't tell you how many times I would use this piece of content. See, every lead you come into contact with, freaking send them to your content. Any drip or opt-in that you get, send them to your content. Everyone gets sent to your content. You have to build your authority online before you can take them offline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's extremely, extremely important. Look at how long that post is. That's probably like 3,000 words. It's a freaking course, right? So again, content's about giving value, creating authorities, and all of the above.
And if you're thinking, well, that's so much, everybody's going to read that. Like they may not, but they're going to see it.
Yep.
Like they're going to know that you put the effort into writing it out, and that's going to be a lot. That's going to help.
Here's a good one, and we just did an expired piece of content for an agent in Minnesota too, and she's doing the exact same thing. She has an expired page. So like, what do you do when your house doesn't sell? This is the same thing. We built out a case study. We put it on our site, and anytime we came across an expired listing, this is the content that we would drip to them. This is also the content that we would promote on Facebook to people that were in relationship statuses that are going south, or life events that are going north or south, right? Those are the people who are likely to move. And what content does, it allows us to identify potential prospects to further retarget. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So as you can see, there's no shortage of real estate content right here, right? I want to show another one. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the call, and this is all of the case study. So this is a true story of a case study that we created for an agent in San Diego market. They created a case study, and what happened with this case study is, when you're really posting stuff on social and you're saying just sold, like I say this all the time, but you're really just telling people how much money you made. And it's almost like a brag reel. I hate bragging. I hate talking about how much money I made or I just sold or I just did this, because especially if think about it, your client is probably on your social pages, right? They're probably friends with you on Facebook and you're like, just sold. Do you ever really want to sell somebody? The subliminal messaging behind that sucks. Like it makes me uncomfortable for you. And you don't want to ever have to sell, but you could start telling stories. And this is where HGTV comes in, right? What the hell is Flip This House, or any of these buyers shows like House Hunters or Beachfront Bargain Hunt, or they're all talking about the story of finding a property or the story of rehabbing and selling a property. So folks, they've done the work for us. Just start creating stories. This agent created a case study out of their listing, and they used this twofold. One was to show the seller what they did for it, but two is they showed the exact marketing plan that they put into place for this property that explained and showed how they sold this house with 5 offers in 3 days at an open house, and sellers were really happy. So instead of telling people, start showing them. And this is what I mean by storytelling.
And the real cool thing about this particular case study was this generated 2 additional transactions for this agent.
Yep.
Within like a month after they posted it.
That's what content does, because
Yep.
here's the piece. Look at you're gonna click on this. Like, who am I gonna send this to? I'm running Facebook ads. We're gonna get into the marketing, the content next. But I'm running Facebook ads. I'm clicking on this. I'm not clicking on just sold.
Right. But pay attention to the wording on this too, because this homeowner sold, not we the Mesker team sold.
Yeah.
Like, that wording is huge. They're giving the spotlight to somebody else. And
Yep.
when you're storytelling, you've got to give the spotlight to someone else.
Yep. Definitely. So again, this goes back into storytelling. So let's get into the marketing of marketing content, especially on social. So here's essentially what we're doing. Let's just use this example, right? We're creating a piece of content. Let's just take an example. How to sell your house during a divorce. We're targeting that content to, in this case, people who are on their way out in relationship statuses, because that's the beauty of Facebook, is that you can use Facebook to target people who are your ideal candidates or audiences. And this first piece of content is to identify people. All right. I want to set up a retargeting audience of everyone who's clicked and engaged on that first piece of content. That's who I send my advertisements to. So let me walk you through that again. Ad number 1, regardless of what piece of content it is pure content. It's pure value. All right. You're not trying to sell anyone anything. You're creating a story, and it's going to be like, this homeowner sold their house for blah, 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 blah. Or it's going to be like, here's how you avoid getting ripped off from Purple Bricks. So I had to throw that one in there. But
yep, nice.
Ad number 1 is all pure content. What it does is it sets up your ad to retarget, or your call to action ad. That's what retargeting truly is. This is no different than what a lot of people are doing, except I see a lot of people not retargeting audiences created on content. They're retargeting audiences created on clickbait. So I think if you guys have questions on this, feel free to go ahead and message us. But this is what content does. It allows you to identify future prospects. And if you're going to practice online lead gen or online marketing, this is exactly what every business does. You have to create content to identify prospects, to show them that you're worth hiring. All right. So it's like the play action, right? In football, play action for all you guys and all you football girls. Play action, what do? We hand it off. Why? Because we're setting up that pass. That's exactly what retargeting is on Facebook. It's identical. We're running content, hand off, so that we can eventually set up the pass. The pass is the ad that goes to the audiences we created who clicked on our content. Now it says, so what we're doing is we're using Facebook to replace your message, and then we're creating a second ad there. And what we do is you have to get permission to advertise, right? Let's go back to the dating analogy, and this is virtually on every aspect of it. If you go straight for the marriage proposal the first time you meet, you're going to be a creep. If you go straight for the joke, you're going to get permission to ask her out on a date. All right. This is like dating, guys. Think of your content as dating. All right. You have to get them to laugh. You have to get their interest before you could sell them on anything.
No corny pickup lines.
Yeah. So if you have a question on that, let us know. Now, a lot of this stuff, guys, we do it all for you. I'll share this with you really briefly. We have over 40 to 50 different topics you can write about. We have seller series. We record your video, we produce your video, we write your blog post, and then we distribute all the content for you to your database, your social pages, Facebook ads. We build the content on your website, and it is yours forever. If you have interest in that, check us out on our website. But let's keep going. So let's talk about what the goals were of running this whole campaign, okay? Because that's just real estate content. We have other things we're going to talk about right now. One is to become an authority or expert, okay? This is why we create real estate target content on our site. 2 is I could use this to create Facebook retargeting audiences, so I could identify future prospects. 4 is I could generate organic website traffic. If you have content on your site that people search for, it's more likely to get found than if you don't. Drip to database or leads as part of a campaign. For those of you that are running leads and you have opt-ins and you're trying to set up a campaign, why not set up a video campaign follow-up series or sequence and use the video at the top and send them back to the content that you have created. Every bit of content you create, I believe you should also be doing with a video. And if you do, you could optimize easily on video or YouTube for rank. You could use this content to convert and send to prospects. Focus on educating consumers on their most commonly asked questions, and keep your content on your site forever and use it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Did I miss anything?
No, I nailed it.
Cool. So that's real estate content. Let's switch gears. Let's go to hyper-local community content. We like to call this the human side. All right. And this is the stuff of other types of content that you could create on your site. Things like neighborhood videos, business interviews, points of interest, neighborhood custom IDX searches, for example. So last week we went through different types of videos, or on webinar 2, I would say, we went through different types of videos to create. And one of those was a neighborhood. Now I'll play a little bit of this, but I won't play the whole thing, because if you want to know more about the video content creation, you could watch webinar number 2, but let me just give you a peek. Chicago Loop. This is River Door. All right, as you can see, we're on the river, and this is the dividing line between the loop. So last week we talked about the videos and creating content so it keeps you at the forefront, builds your authority, it's fun, it's engaging, it's entertaining for social and all the above. But where are we going to do with those videos? How about creating neighborhood pages on your website and putting the videos on top of them? Think about it. You're a local expert. The only reason people hire us is because we know the ins and outs of every nook, cranny, alley around in the towns that we work in. So become that expert and literally go out and start creating content around your area and inform others. I used to rank my neighborhood videos on YouTube. I don't know if I put a slide in here, but if you go to like Best Chicago Neighborhoods, I got like 5 or 6 videos that pop up on page 1. All of them have thousands of views. Well, I don't know if those views will ever turn into a deal or not, but I know I have to create content. And as long as I am, I'm going to multi-purpose it on YouTube so I could get the opportunity to potentially sell someone something else. Okay. So you could create videos and then accompany those with neighborhood pages on your website. Small business owner interviews. Last week we spoke on the video side of this. I'll play this briefly so you get an idea of a small business owner interview. But what are we going to do with that content? Well, we're going to create a media series on the website. Let's see Regina Flores right here. She created a media series called Ramona Revealed on her website. And every time she does a new business owner interview, we turn that into a blog post essentially on her website. You can link back to you can link back to the other website of the business that you interviewed. You could put some other content on there, but it's content on her site that's there to build her personal brand and to keep her sort of everywhere all of the time. And this would be a separate section on your website that has a quote unquote media series on it. All right. Again, the human side, folks, it's really important to do a little bit of both, right? You have to have content that creates your authority, but at the same time, remember what people do when they hire a real estate agent. The number one qualifier is that they like and trust you. The human side makes that happen a lot easier than not having it. Trust me on that.
Yep.
So with community interest videos and content, the goal is brand awareness, sell without selling. I'm trying to rank on YouTube. I'm trying to rank my website for search. I want to define the brand with my shows or series I create. I want to create local expertise or become an authority, become the person that everybody knows in the area. I mean, that's really what realtors are. They're local celebrities to an extent. All right. So there's the human side, business interviews, community type content. Now let's go through some MLS type content you can create. This is something that we would call hyper local neighborhood searches. So what does that mean? How many of you guys have IDX on your site? And if you have IDX on your site and you're only using it to compete against Zillow, I'm going to tell you right now that Zillow is going to beat you.
Yep.
Now, the one way that you can beat them is to do what they can't have. And that is by creating hyper local neighborhood searches on your websites. Now, what does that mean? So I want to give you an example. And if virtually every MLS in the country, takes a neighborhood or a city, and then beneath that city, there's subsets of neighborhoods within it, but you can't really search those through a typical MLS feed. So let me give you an example. So in this case, this agent that we're showing right here, she works in the area of Temecula. But in Temecula, there's a neighborhood that she works for specifically, and it's really hard to find properties or search-related terms within that neighborhood. So because she set up this type of MLS, she's able to create a polygram search and literally just show properties and create information just on properties within that neighborhood search, right? Now, this search typically wouldn't exist on an MLS because they don't have the capacity to do it. Now, she also wanted to upgrade this, and what she did is that she has a tool on her website where you can sign up for these listing alerts if you want. So people in this neighborhood can sign up for these listing reports. Now, if you hit this market report button, where that takes us to is right here, and it's like a CMA just for the polygram, and it's really professional looking. This is updated every 30 days in real time. And for anyone in this neighborhood who signs up for market reports, this will automatically get emailed to them every 30 days. And it'll give them not generalized MLS information, which is what Zillow does, but specific to their neighborhood. So the comps are a lot more accurate. So if you talk about dripping out value, or think about all the different ways you can do this, you can literally create a flyer, direct them to your neighborhood page, and say, if you really want to know every 30 days the homes that sell in this market, sign up for this report right here. That's pretty valuable. People will buy that. People will sign up for that, right? Now, if you look at the bottom of that page, all of her, it's like a CMA, literally. So all the listings, all the actives, everything's in there for her. But I want you to see something else. Now, ranking on Google and ranking on search is, you never know if you can or not. You know, you have to pick search terms and highly marketable search terms that are not like too crazy, all right? Or I mean, not too readily available in terms of search. So look at some other search terms. If you look in the right-hand column of the slide, Marietta homes for sale. And they broke down a series of searches. It's not just Marietta homes for sale. It's Marietta homes for sale, 300 to 400, under 300, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. So they built out several different search terms right here. And if you go on page 1 of Google, they have the top spot organically. They're not paying for these ads right here, right? So that's pretty valuable to have. Again, you can't attract people to your website without first being found. In a cluttered world of real estate, that's exactly what happens. Now, I was doing these slides last night, and this is Val's site right here, but I forgot we did this agent too, and she actually is beating her. That's our girl, Leslie. So they both ranked in the same thing, and it's funny that they're the number 1 and 2 beyond the ads. And this is what I mean by hyper-local content. So I want to give you guys a couple other examples because I think this is important. Now, I moved to San Diego now, and I've been here for about a year. I'm slowly getting to know the landscape. But if I'm setting up a search like this in this market, if you guys know the landscape in San Diego, people search for properties east of the 5 or west of the 5. 5's the highway, so it's basically coastal. Then it separates and you go inland. So imagine creating searches that'll be like homes for sale, Del Mar, west of 5. That's a very specific MLS search that people probably would be interested in checking out that may not exist on the regular search. So that's really what this is. You're creating hyper-local searches. If you guys have questions on that, let me know. But it's extremely, extremely powerful. So,
hey, Mike, real quick, while you have those communities up, the communities I've had this idea for a while, and I want to see somebody execute it because I think that it would fit perfectly into this. I think that dog parks are a great piece of blogging content to write about.
Yep.
So if you have this set up and you love dogs and dog parks, which I love dogs, but I'm not into the parks, you could go out, write a blog about and review each one of the dog parks in an area, and then connect it to a blog post and have a link that goes over to that community MLS feed.
Essentially.
And so you're tying it all in together, and you're reaching out to people who care about the same thing as you care about.
Yep.
If anybody is planning on doing that, please let me know, because I really do want to follow along and see how that works.
Wants to do it. He'll do it for free, probably.
Yeah, I've been talking about that for a couple of years.
I see you got a question, Chris. I'm going to get to your question in just a second. Let me finish up the section right here, and I'll get to that. If you guys have questions, go ahead and submit them in. We'll get them at the end of this call here. But so why are we going to go hyper local? Well, folks, you're not going to compete against any of the big boys. You're not going to compete against Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Homes.com. So quit trying to target the city of Chicago, for example, or the city of San Diego, and start getting specific. Start getting super, super specific and own that. That's how you compete against these big search sites, is by becoming a hyper local agent. Now, let's go through the goals and why we're doing this. Well, one, hyper local is, if you guys watched webinar 2, that was all about building a brand that people know, like, and trust, and bringing the human side out. So brand awareness is huge, right? 2, generate organic hyper-local website. If you don't create content that gets found, you're not going to get found, right? It's as simple as that. Local awareness. This is great content to nurture your database with. So many people are trying to struggle to figure out, how the hell do I market my database consistently, man? Well, create community content, because that's stuff that your database would probably rally behind. And that's why that these community type pieces of content get 17 to 20 shares on a $12 a week budget. The reason why that's happening is because people support the communities they live in, and they will share. It's very social media appropriate. Optimize your content on YouTube with videos so you can get searched. Build authority. Humanize your brand. Stay present consistently. Folks, this is like creating media around your brand, right? That's what this thing is all about. Is be everywhere all the time through creating valuable ways, and show your human side. People want to do business with a human, not a robot. And if you look at the competition we have today, that's exactly what we're up against. Do you want automation, or do you want to have your hand held? Do you want to try to save some money and not have as good as an experience, or do you want to have the red carpet experience? That's the direction this industry is headed. But remember, this is playing the long game. Creating content like this, like I said this is not for a transactional broker. This is not for someone that sells houses. This is for somebody that helps people live the dream, and they happen to sell houses in the meanwhile, if you know what I'm saying. So we create content primarily for our database, but we multi-purpose it for the cold market. And one thing you have to realize is that not every piece of content you create will be great, but you need to start somewhere. People who try, you're going to be trying new things, and some of your content will be awesome and some of it won't get any action. Doesn't mean it was bad. You just don't know when that action on that's going to be partake, or when that's going to actually hit. Did I answer that question?
Yep. Nailed it.
Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. I do have a question. Can your company help mortgage brokers and the content we need? I did see a lot of good stuff here. Yes, we work with several mortgage brokers. I'm actually going to go through and show you guys something right here on my site in just a second. And if you have questions, go ahead and ask them now while we get this thing set up here for you. But yeah, folks, what we do, a lot of people have asked us, I got that question. I see it came through a couple of times. Folks, what we do is we build content. We create content for people. We do a lot of different things. We do branding. We do video services. We essentially become your marketing dude. We do all the heavy lifting that you don't want to do. And I like to say we're sort of like the assistant you can't find to hire, because we do all the hard stuff that nobody else really knows how to do. And everything we do is attraction-based, content-based, and content creation. And yes, we are looking to help put more marketing dudes out there. We essentially are a bolt-on media company that partners with real estate brokerages, title companies, lenders, and you guys utilize us without having to staff this in-house, because that's what's expensive. You basically have $15,000 to $20,000 worth of employee power just by working with us that you don't have to do in-house yourself. Let me answer that other question. Chris, you have, and folks, if you have questions, I want to show you exactly how to get them to our site. We're going to Q&A. I like to keep these to about an hour. But if you have questions, visit our site, realestatemarketingdude.com. If you ever want to set up a demo with me, you can go demo with the dude right there. All the services we do are right here, but take the training. If you have not taken these webinars from webinar 1, webinar 2, and then this webinar, take the training. It's right here. We have several courses on our website. Some are for sale, some are free, but start with the free stuff and just consume it. I'm telling you, there's a big paradigm shift happening inside of the market right now, and I believe content's the future. I know it is. Justin, you could see my screen, right? My website screen? Okay.
Yep.
Paul asked a question. Being out of state, how does this work to utilize your services? The same, Paul. Most of our clients are out of state. We have really sort of created a way to create media content on cell phones, and we can handle everything. You could be in China, you could be wherever. Set up a call with us, go to our website, schedule that demo, and I'll show you exactly how that works, but it's a lot easier. If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach you, but you have to be a business owner, okay? This content doesn't create itself. You film, we do everything else. Sound like a plan? Give us a shout, Paul. I'd love to work with you. I know you, buddy. Brett asked a good question here. Let's see, right this. Brett asked about a divorce. Okay, here we go. Or Chris asked a good question. I'm sorry. Chris, what's an example of how to retarget an ad for what you do during a divorce? So Chris, let's do the first ad first. This is a really good example. I love the question. So Chris asks, what's an example of a retarget ad? So the first audience is I'm going to do how to sell your house quickly when husbands go bad. I'll target that one to the women, and I'll do the other one to the men. I'm just joking. But you'll have a piece of content that's a blog post that has no pitch, no sales pitch whatsoever. It's just stuff that those people in those situations would want to have. So I'd probably create the first piece would be like how to sell your house extremely fast with the least amount of headaches. How to sell your house during a bankruptcy. I would literally just say how to sell your house during a divorce. That could possibly work too, because it's going to get my attention. The second ad that you have for the retargeting is you're going to want to play with it. But what I would do is create a opt-in or maybe like a checklist of like the 4 things that you can do to sell your house quickly. Because you know that people are in a divorce, that's one of the points they have to do. And you'd create a little white paper or a little lead magnet per se. Don't overthink it. Just put yourselves in their shoes and figure out what they want and create a real simple solution for them. That's what content is. Lisa asked a question. Do you have training on how to add neighborhood searches on our websites? Lisa, we will do this for you. That's exactly what we do. We build out the website. You could check out the Val Ives site. You can see how we did it on there. But it'd be appropriate if you want to do hyperlocal searches. Now, on our site, for those of you that have questions, I see a lot of them coming in, just go ahead and literally click on our site, set up a demo for anything you want. If you guys need a website, we'll build you a website. If you need IDX, we'll build you a IDX. If you want us to put a for sale by owner course on your website, we'll put a for sale by owner course on your website. If you want us to do hyperlocal neighborhood searches, we'll put that on your website. If you want us to do expired pages, we'll put that on your website. If you want us to custom design pages, we'll put that on your website. If you want me to build a fucking buyer series, I'll put that on your website. If you want me to build a seller series, I'll put that on your website. I'll make you look extremely cool on your freaking website, so you don't have to do it. All right. What else? So yeah, Lisa, give us a shot. We'll be happy to show you how that all works. Any other questions we see, Justin? Do you have anything else?
No, I think probably the only question I would like to bring up, this is something that, what about people who, they hear this, maybe they're a new agent, but, they really can't commit to this right now, but they want to do something. Where should they start? Like, what's the number one thing they should do?
Good question. So if you're a new agent, where I would start is by having a site. I truly believe everyone in real estate needs a site. I'm not saying we have to build one for you, but use something. You can't run an online marketing plan without a site. Like, it's like me trying to drive a car without gas, right? It just doesn't work. So if you're going to do online marketing, you need content. So where you start is in the basics. Like, this is content creation and all this stuff, folks. Remember what I said at the very last slide? I said, create it primarily for your database. So you don't have to go out and do this big ad spend and try to reach thousands and thousands of divorce people. Start with your database. Show your database you're an expert. Show your database you're a pro. Earn the trust of them first. Let them sell your shit for you. That's what I've always done. I've built my whole career doing that. And a lot of times I think people just overthink it. Become the most referable agent, not the smartest agent. Become the most personable agent, not the professional agent. Right? And just just humanize the brand and just literally be like, would I work with that dude? Would I do that? There's a lot of these answers to your questions you'll get just by sitting down and really thinking about it. But start with the website would be my first bit of advice. And also start with figuring out what the hell your brand is. It's hard to create a content without knowing what your brand is or what your story stands for, because the tonality of your content is everything. And you could see that reflected of my own brand. You guys might not like me. You might like me. I'm assuming if you're still on this call, you may like me. But I'm just who I am. That's my brand. I'm a dude, right? So what's yours? Watch webinar 1 for that. Bob asked a question. Do you give ideas on what content to create, and then do you create the web page, lead pages, social media sites, and ads? Yes, Bob, to an extent. We run your first round of content. All right, we don't handle retargeting services. However, we do have partners that will take our content to the next level. We are not a Facebook ad agency. We're a content creation agency, and we will run Facebook ads to your first audiences. We'll run them to your database as the number 1, and 2 would be whomever your brand resonates with. So yes, we will do that, but we do not run your lead pages and all that. We do the content creation part of it. And a lot of people would use our content to work with a guy like Travis Tom, for example, or a Grant Wise, if you will. Those guys are really good at what they do they set up really advanced Facebook ad funnels and do all the work for you, but they use our content to get the clicks, right? So you could, I'd be happy to introduce you to them, but they're going to tell you first, get content. I hope that answers. But yes, it's a lot. This isn't as difficult as you think. It's just a matter of doing it and taking action. And that's really how we set up our company. We do all this stuff for you guys. We don't want you guys to have to do anything. All we need is your personality. And once we know that, we could create it and make it fit for you. That's what Justin's role is, actually.
Yeah.
But what content do I create? So Bob, let me show you something right here. So we have a site. On our site, we have a training course. So agents who come on board with us, we already have all the content to create. You just tell us which ones you want us to create for you. So if you log into, I got to log into my own site. Give me a sec. So what happens is that we have tons and tons and tons of content. In my past life, I wrote about everything you can imagine about in real estate. So I no longer, I don't think there's anything else you can write about in terms of questions and common questions. So what we do is we rewrite a lot of this content in your tonality, because we have the basics of everything else. And we let you decide what you want content on. So we could build you a buyer series. We could build you a seller series. There's just so many different ways we can go, but we first start by figuring out what you're trying to accomplish and back into it from there. If you look on my course right here, every bit of content that we create is accompanied with a video. The video is extremely important with content. And we're like, here, you want a buyer package? You want a seller package? We have a ton of content for you. So we tell you what to write. We actually script and write the video. You just have to show up, dude. Does that sound accurate, Justin?
That's it. Amen.
Cool. So there's a lot of stuff on here. There's no shortage of it, but I like the buyer and the seller content. I love the neighborhood videos. Believe it or not, I think those are really, 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 really good. They get a lot of action. Justin, how are we looking on time? We're just about there at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Do you guys have any additional questions? I want to go ahead and give it a 1, 2, 3 countdown. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and end this call. And I want to make sure that you guys know how to access the remaining webinars that are on our site, and just go to the free training. It'll unlock the course, and the courses are located in the course section. This video will be up in about probably about 20, 30 minutes. And it'll be right here in this first section right there. So I appreciate your guys' time. Let me know if there's anything we can do to help you or assist you in your business. Thank you for staying on, and thank you for watching this. I appreciate your interest. You know how to contact us. Real Estate Marketing Dude. Just schedule a demo. Feel free to contact us or talk to one of our dudes. We are here to help, and we're all about attraction-based business. Thanks, folks. See y'all later, and have a great day.